No, we've not bolted out of Azimio. Azimio has just died natural death.
When is the funeral happening?
No, some of the politics, we never have funerals. What we do in politics, you just, you cremate and you disperse the ashes. That Kumibila breaks, they might have turned the lorry. Because any lorry with a lot of momentum, going downhill without brakes,
Crashes into the river.
Yes. So they should have said something better. Yeah. Raila, of course, they had to steal the show by telling us Kibaki Tosha. But already it was clear that Kibaki was the front runner in that particular election. So today to say that President Ruto will win because there is no clear opposition, opposition is very clear. The issues of Cherargei and Sudi saying that the president is not going to be one-term president, they are actually overshooting the runway.
Great to have you on Richard Mwenja exclusive. The month is April, the year of our Lord 2025. So great to have you on board. I am here to bring home conversations that are shaping Kenya's political and governance landscape. And I am not alone. I'm actually in the phenomenal company of former Minister Kipruto Arab Kirwa Waziri. Great to have you on the show once again.
It's also my pleasure. Yeah, now that we've just gone with the festivities of the holidays, we are back to base.
You're back to base.
Yes.
And you're back to base in a more youthful look.
Well, perhaps because of the attire, apart from the attire, is that this relaxing. There is a lot of rain, and I like plenty of rains. Yeah, anytime there is rain, whether it's raining on my crop, when it's not supposed to have rain, I'm happy because I feel water is life.
All right.
Yeah.
Waziri, let the starting point of our conversation be President Ruto's 5-day state visit to China. As we talk, he's in Beijing, China. And Kenyans want to understand, from this particular visit in Beijing, China, what do you think are the basket of goodies Kenyans should look forward to from this visit as a country?
Well, I don't know the details, but what I know on top of things must be the extension of SGR.
Yeah.
Hopefully, it is not going to be as expensive as we fear. Because I've told you, in this regime, everything they do, there must be personal interest in whatever they're investing in. So my prayer is that, yes, let's have SGR, but let us make it less expensive. I'm saying so with a lot of information. Morocco has done similar one, and it's even faster than the one we have. Ethiopia has done standard gauge railway. Tanzania has done. And when you compare all those costs, ours is the most expensive for a number of reasons. One is compensation on the land. The land issue here in Kenya is a bit expensive. But more important is the cost of corruption that is already inbuilt in that. The second issue, perhaps, is the dual road from Mao Summit to Rironi. We just pray that it is done as fast as possible. The other day when I was coming from Kitale, it took us almost 2 hours or 3 hours between Naivasha and Limuru. This therefore means that we need to think about how to make communication faster for purposes of doing business. Otherwise, we also pray that we are not also going to burden the Kenyan people with a lot of debt. Because they say they are not taking any more debt, but you can see every day they are not giving it for free. They are going to accept on certain conditions. And I hope whatever we are reading in the social media is not the truth, that they want to mortgage certain facilities, including some of the national parks. My prayer is that, yes, you can engage within a country, but let us not give our sovereign assets to any foreign country, because when the chips are down, they will auction the country. And that is not a situation that we admire. Yeah.
So then, Waziri, now that you're taking concern with the balloon in public debt we are experiencing as a country, last time it was pegged at 11 trillion Kenya shillings.
Yeah.
Someone would wonder, how then do we build up this self-reliance within ourselves as a country, just so to avoid these debts that are sinking us into a hole by the day?
One, we have to be frugal in terms of expenses, and also we have to be prudent in the management of public resources. We need to reduce wastage, and we need to reduce theft. Those are areas where we lose because there is a lot of seepage from the system. Remember, we're getting a lot of concerns about certain payment to for visa, issues of e-citizen, and many other ways that we feel things could have been done better. We don't want to repeat the issues of Adani, issues of Shisha. All these things, they have happened, and we have come to the logical conclusion that there is a hand of somebody who feels that he has to put his fingers on the till.
Oftentimes, you've argued on this show that when it comes to the cost of corruption in Kenya, even now, e-citizen itself, that platform, is corruption in the works. Do you still hold the same position? I
still hold the same position until I'm proven, until somebody is able to prove to us that there is no corruption. I've also talked about CRB in the past, that why don't we make these institutions, government institutions, so that any money they are making is replowed back into the public system? Why must we invite private individuals to come and run a show that could be run by a government institution? It could be under KRA. It could be a department within KRA. Because if KRA is collecting revenue, and we trust that they can collect, although I'm told for the last 10 years, this is the lowest they are collecting for the last 9 months of the financial year. Yes, but we can improve by ensuring that KRA is more transparent. KRA is more frugal in the usage of resources. KRA is more people-oriented, because some of the problems also with KRA and other institutions is treating the public like this is a bunch of thugs, including Kenya Power. At times, the way they disconnect electricity is like you are a criminal who is about to run out of the country. And yet, we feed the institution, and that's why they get the money they get. The profits they are ostensibly declaring is because we pay. If we had alternative ways of getting power, nobody would be with Kenya Power.
So, Waziri, are you implying that those issues you're taking concern with, such as corruption, the high cost of living, are these the factors that will then inform President Ruto's biggest Waterloo when it comes to the 2027 elections?
There are a number of challenges he has, one of which is corruption. The other one is promises. He has made so many promises that when somebody does evaluate his performance, they will realize that he's not doing as well as he should have done. Because you see, the public measure you by the promises you give them. If you tell them, I will build 10 classrooms in the next 1 year in this school, and at the end of the period you have only built 4, they will give you 40%. But if you tell them, I'll build 5 classrooms, and by the end of the year you have built 4, they will measure you 4 out of 5, 80%. So it depends. The public is so fair. When you commit yourself within certain reasonable limits, because they are saying, you took advantage of us, you lied to us, you told us you're going to do so much, and therefore the mistake is yours because you never told us the truth. If you knew that you are not going to perform to that level, why didn't you tell us the truth? So that we elect you on the basis of your story. So the president, if he was to lose the election, he will lose the election because of lack of public trust.
On that account?
But I pray, let it be 2027, because I always believe in good manners. That even if somebody has not done well, let him enjoy the balance of the ticket. It's like even if I was to misbehave in the car between here and Kitale, allow me to reach Kitale. But next time, you don't allow me to get into the same bus because you know this guy messes on the way. I say so because these democratic institutions are very fragile. And the more we accept that, yes, make a decision, elect somebody, and give somebody the full benefit of the time that the Constitution does provide. He may change and get elected. He may not change and lose. And therefore, the issues of Cherargei and Sudi saying that the president is not going to be a one-term president, they are actually overshooting the runway. Overshooting the runway in the sense that we have so many examples in Africa. The president of Ghana lost elections, he conceded. The president of Botswana lost elections, he conceded. The president in one of the countries of West Africa, he didn't run. He actually decided not to run because the wife told him, the way I see, the public is so much anti-you. And those examples are very, even Zambia. The president of Zambia lost the elections and he conceded the defeat. So some of these things are not new to Africa. And when there is that wave, be prepared either to lose or win honorably. But if you say that you are going to fiddle around with the votes, it is not possible. You can only still if the margin is 200,000, 100,000, 70,000. But in a serious system like the one we have now, where we know the president will have to look for almost 4 million votes to bridge the gap, there's no way stealing can be done.
First of all, before we take a deep dive on the claim from Oscar Sudi and Cherargei,
Yes.
how would you render that statement from them that they are going to go to whatever level possible to give President Ruto a second term? Do you term that unfortunate from leaders of that caliber?
It's not only unfortunate, but it's criminal. Because you see, when you say you are going to tamper with the votes, you are actually committing a criminal act. You see, even you as a candidate or any other person that is not meant to hold the ballot paper, it is an offense to hold that ballot paper. Because all the elections I've gone through, I hold only one ballot paper, or the ones we used to have 3, for the president, for the councillor, and for the member of parliament. Now there are about 6. You can only handle 6 at that time. And once you have already voted and you have left the station, any handling of the votes later on, if you are not sworn in as an officer in the election process, who is involved either as a presiding officer, as a returning officer, or as a counting clerk, or as, somebody involved in that process, is an offense. So it's criminal for anybody even to imagine that we are going to force somebody to go to State House when we know the votes are not enough. Yeah, otherwise it will create a lot of chaos. And I would want to advise them that they should spend more time campaigning for the president than telling us those stories. Those stories, nobody is going to buy them.
The claim, that particular claim from Cherargei is premised on the argument that this far, there is no opposition outfit formidable enough to send President Ruto home in 2027. Citing your coalition that you are in with Kalonzo Musyoka, Martha Karua, and like-minded individuals, to be one that will have last-minute breakaways. They cannot even be united behind one candidate. Do you buy that?
No, we are united by public goodwill. We will be forced to be together. Even the 2002 election, Raila never joined us in NAK because he liked Kibaki. He realized there was no alternative. I remember at 3 o'clock, the late Job Omino's house, we called him at about 3 o'clock in the morning. And he said, yes, I've heard your story. And it's also good for you to understand. You may win. We may win as LDP. But the project might go through because by then it was simple majority. Mo himself having had 2 a successful election wins without getting to 40%. Because by then the constitution was simple. If you have 30% and nobody else has 30%, you are declared the president. So Raila, of course, they had to steal the show by telling us Kibaki tosha, but already it was clear that Kibaki was the front runner in that particular election. So today to say that President Ruto will win because there is no clear opposition, opposition is very clear. And even those who want to bolt out, they'll be forced to come in by the people. You remember the wave of GNC? Yeah, they force people now to behave, even including the current regime. So that force is going to force us to be together to the end. Number two, people don't vote necessarily for a candidate. They vote against the candidate. So those who will not be voting for Ruto is not because they are voting for necessarily Kalonzo or Matiang'i. They are voting for somebody who will remove Ruto. Because for them, they feel we have a better deal away from the current regime.
But is that even sustainable, Waziri? Talking about anyone but Ruto, really?
Well, the issue of sustainability, I'm just giving you general political principle. The question of sustainability must be, we go through the 4 stages of group formation by coming together, storming, forming, and performing.
Come again on that one.
Yes, you come together, you form the group. Having formed the group, you storm. Having stormed, you norm. Having normed, you perform. Those are the stages in any group, in any team formation. And if you go through those stages properly, and that's why we are meeting regularly nowadays, we go through all these 4 stages until we build trust among ourselves. For NAC, it took us 2 years to be together from NAK all the way to NARC. And the same process is going to repeat. And Kenya Kwanza has not made it better for themselves. Because by just thumping that we are going to steal the elections.
Yeah. Kumi bila break.
Well, because Kumi bila break, it depends. They may be using break EA or break A. That Kumi bila breaks. They might have turned the lorry. Because any lorry with a lot of momentum going downhill without brakes
crashes into the river.
Yes. So they should have said something better. Yeah. Because you see, even if Ruto was to lose the elections, he has a chance in 2032. He may come back like the way Trump came back. So for us, even when we win, we have to be very careful so that we perform better. Otherwise, if we perform worse than him, the same public can elect him. So Cherargei may realize that we're actually assisting Ruto to have a break so that he can reflect on some of the goofs that he has made for the last 2.5 years, including a mess with our neighbors, where we are like an eyesore. In Sudan, we have messed. In DRC, we have messed. In Israel and Hamas, we have messed. In Somalia, we have messed. Sahrawi and Morocco, we've messed. So when those messes are cumulatively taken to the table of AU, that's how Raila lost the election.
The president believes he wants to position Kenya as a quick reaction force, a quick rescue team for our neighbors in crisis. Why do you take concern with that?
No, it's always important that a problem goes through the normal process, where you identify what the problem is, you're able to process and deal with the actors within that conflict. And once the actors in the conflict are identified and are appreciated, you allow the participants to be the people who know those actors better than us. So we are not saying you should not deal with the neighbors, but deal with them diplomatically and also allow both sides of the equation to feel that he is a genuine arbiter, not the situation that is obtaining in Sudan.
Let's circle back to the rigging claims from Cherargei and Oscar Sudi. But do you have fears as a senior citizen and as a leader in this country and one actively in politics? Do you see this building up to voter apathy in 2027? Because why would Richard go to the ballot box if you already have fears of they're going to rig and my vote won't count at the end of the day?
That's why I'm assuring Kenyans that those are stories we've had before. People saying that there is no way Moi can lose elections. In 2002, that was a story from William Ruto himself, telling us opposition cannot win. Has Moi ever lost an election? And the answer was no. But
can we rule for 100 years?
For 100 years, of course, indirectly in May. But at that time, Uhuru lost the election against Kibaki with a overwhelming majority of 66%. So these stories of saying we are going to rig elections, it is their supporters who may not come out. But our supporters are clear. We want to get rid of him.
You want to get rid of President Ruto, but in his place, whom are you going to replace him with? That's the question. Matiang'i has jetted back into the country. Yeah. His allies are talking about him harboring presidential prospects, and chances are high he's going to get one. He's going to ascend to that particular seat. How do you take in this return of Matiang'i into the country and his involvement in the local politics, much as he has not really announced his position on whether he's going to vie for presidency or not?
Well, it's very useful. And I've been saying the more, the better. So that if they go through the machine of being processed and being allowed to prove to us that they have something for the people of this country, for me, that is where we should go. We should not exclude anybody. We should not exclude Matiang'i or any other person who has declared that he wants to be president. We can process and we end up with a team of individuals akin to what we had in 2002. Because about 8 of us formed what we call the summit. Perhaps I was the only one, and the Mzee Mudavadi, who are not presidential candidates, because Kibaki was there in the summit, the late Wamalwa, the late Saitoti, the current former vice president, that is Mheshimiwa Kalonzo Musyoka, Raila himself, and Charity Ngilu. The 6 of them were presidential material, having run in the previous election, and Kalonzo and Saitoti looked serious contenders. But eventually, we settled on Kibaki. So there is no problem whatsoever. We just need to process, and we allow each person to tell us what is the agenda they have for this country. So that we just don't pick on somebody just because we want to get rid of William Ruto. For me, we should change, but that change must also have some basic principles of how can we be better than the current regime.
Is there a chance for there to be double agents in the coalition that you're coming up with, in the sense that maybe there's an individual who's been fronted by President Ruto or Kenya Kwanza government just so to split the vote at the 11th hour?
Well, all those possibilities are there in politics. But I don't want us to get to run scared just because people may be here and there. We've known even up to the last minute, people will know who are your agents and they buy the agents. That is at the constituency level where I've run a number of times. So let's not be scared of that. It is normal. But what I know is that there is a greater will among the people of Kenya that we need a better administration than the one we have today. Yeah.
When you're talking about the official opposition in this country, and one party that has really come to fore on that particular front is ODM party. But as we are talking today, we've seen sort of division within the ODM party. People like Babu Owino or James Orengo believe that ODM is riding on the blood of the Gen Z and enjoying spoils of war by going to bed with Kenya Kwanza government. Are you seeing a situation whereby such lieutenants under ODM are going to now cross over to people's level opposition, which you are in, Kalonzo Musyoka and a few others?
Yeah, what I've said about this country, and I still strongly believe, there are good people in the opposition, there are good people in the government. And we've not really formed serious organic political entities that run on serious philosophical foundation. We still have this issue of shifting positions. And there are many people in ODM today who are very reform-oriented. There are many people in Kenya Kwanza today who are also reform-oriented. The way I see the new dispensation is that a team will evolve that will retain substantially the people now who are in the opposition, minus ODM. There are people from ODM who will join that group and develop a momentum that will create a bandwagon. There are people in Kenya Kwanza who will not be in Kenya Kwanza up to the end. They might join and we create the same or a bigger momentum towards change. So I have this feeling that let's not be fixated that those who are in Azimio today must remain in Azimio up to the end. This is a dynamic society where people crisscross. And it's not because of lack of principle, but at times you are looking for where you feel your interest is captured most. Yeah.
That informs why you bolted out of Azimio, because you've said any attempts to be back in ODM is just flogging a dead horse.
No, we've not bolted out of Azimio. Azimio has just died natural death.
When is the funeral happening?
No, some of the politics, we never have funerals. What we do in politics, you just, you cremate and you disperse the ashes.
You disperse the ashes.
The ashes, so that we multiply good people and bad people become part of the soil and they add into humus that makes our soil better.
You've talked that about how even in the opposition there are people who believe in reforms, whereas there are those who've lost touch with what even reform means in the first place, positive reforms. One such person who believes in positive reforms as we speak in today is Siaya Governor James Orengo. He's saying that ODM no longer speaks for the people. It speaks to the tune and works at the behest of President William Ruto. Now, for a long-standing ally of Raila Odinga, been in the trenches together for decades now, did you see this stalemate coming at some point?
Well, Governor Orengo is fairly an independent person. In the past, he has disagreed with Raila. You remember when there was the election of Fort Kenya, he stuck to the Wamalwa side and was going to be the vice chairman of Wamalwa's Fort Kenya, before Raila bolted and formed what we were calling NDP. And of course went for the by-election here in Langata, and the rest is history. Orengo has once almost gone to another party that cost him the election of 2002. I think it was in SDP. I can't remember. No, SDP was already with us. I can't remember the party that he was in. So Orengo has been fairly independent compared to Raila. He does not agree with Raila necessarily, but I think he reads the pulse rate of the nation, especially local politics. And perhaps he's been agreeing with Raila for the sake of saving face. Like today, if I wanted to be elected, I just need to agree with Ruto in one or two constituencies that is still popular. But we prefer to be where we are, but we live up to the end of the day, so that at least we are counted among those who are principled, those who feel it is more convenient to be in the right position than to make your position right with the leadership. Yeah.
So for us to have this probably opposition that has principles, that it doesn't compromise, and principles in the sense that once you lose an election, you are fully in opposition for the next 5 years without wanting to enjoy what government gets, people in government. How do we build up this principle to ensure that if it's Azimio, it sticks to the opposition to the end without going into bed with the government of the day?
It is a culture that we must develop. And it cannot develop overnight. It is a culture that will take a bit of time, because at times it's painful to be out of government. But we must encourage more and more people to realize that being in government should be to provide service to the people. But if it is being in government to provide service to yourself, that is the wrong politics that we need to discourage. So my take is that it will take a bit of time. It may not take 10 years. It will take a bit of time. Remember, democracy is very old. In some countries like USA, it's about over 200 years old. In Kenya, it's about 61, 60 something years old. 62, 63 years old. It tells you we are still capturing the moments. And you are still training people to realize that to be in the opposition or to be in the minority is not a crime. Because some people almost want to run away. You realized immediately William Ruto was declared the president. Many people ran. Those who are candidates in the opposition or in Azimio, they ran, and some have been appointed ministers, some have been appointed various chairmen or parastatals.
Some are actually on the waiting list, I hear.
Yeah, they are on the waiting list. Some are PSS as we are talking. They have been confirmed as PSS. So this is something that we need to encourage people, that 5 years is not a long period. And 5 years could also be a period that you can recover or realign yourself with the realities on the ground. Because why should you want to be in government even when the team that you are with lost the election? Those are some of the questions that we must ask ourselves and encourage ourselves that being in the opposition or being minority is not a crime at all. It is a crime to steal. And if you are going to government to steal, then you are also one of the criminals that should not even have been in the opposition in the first place. Yeah.
Is it far-fetched for me as Richard Mwenja to believe that in the architecture of our political parties, there is room for us to build them around ideologies and not individuals, just so to make this robust modern-day democracy you're talking about?
It is critical because, as you know, you've indicated, as you know, parties in Kenya today are grafted around individuals, or it is a makeshift coalition of tribes to form these political parties. And this therefore means that those communities, when they disagree, the parties will disappear as fast as they emerged from the ground. This therefore means we need to build political entities called political parties with a bit of philosophy and also a bit of trust, so that in the absence of anything else, there is the philosophy, why are you here? Why are you not on the other side? If there is nothing else, there should not be lack of trust. Because when there is mistrust, you are bound to move aimlessly without asking yourself, why am I moving in this particular direction? Yeah.
Waziri, you've brought up the conversation about the need for trust, even in our coalition or political parties, or when we come together as a political unit.
Yeah.
But now when we're experiencing mistrust, does it stem from allowing our politicians to be the ones even doing business with government in the first place? That when we are not at par when it comes to a certain dealings, in terms of investment or business with government, then trust deficit comes up?
Well, partly that. Partly is the fact that we've not built a national cohesion to the extent that we should. We are still a collection of tribes under the same land called Kenya. We need to build trust beyond in the individual. We need to build trust among communities, so that today I don't have to be a Kalenjin to be in UDA, or I don't have to be a Luo or a Luya to be in ODM. We need to build some social web that people will relate to each other because of certain principles they share, certain values they share, not certain common names. That because you have the same name as I do, so shall we be in the same political entity. Yeah.
Let's cross over and have a conversation around revelations from Rigathi Gachagua. A few days ago, he's come forward and said his life is in danger. And he believes there are people out here baying for his political blood and soul. Who could be the one out here really thirsting for the political blood of Rigathi Gachagua from your lenses?
I think there must be his colleagues, those he was with in UDA. Because I think they have realized Gachagua is the most dangerous card among those of us on the opposite side. Most dangerous card in the sense that He was a senior person within the government itself and within the political party. And therefore, anything that he says is likely to be believed by many Kenyans than if I was to make the same allegations as an individual. This therefore means that Rigathi Gachagua is tormenting some of his former colleagues. And those guys may either looking for a way of threatening him so that he says less, or looking for a way of, I'm not imagining that they would want to kill him, because that would be dangerous, a card.
That will be a dangerous card?
It will be a dangerous card. You'll never see the end of it. And we don't want even to imagine that if somebody doesn't like the current president, he should think of killing him. Or if somebody doesn't like the former vice president, deputy president, he should think of killing him. That is a card that should belong to the past. Yes, we know people have been killed. Even some of the witnesses that were supposed to go to The Hague, some of them were killed. But that should belong to the past. We should actually look for Kenya, where if you win fairly, you are given a chance to lead. If you lose fairly, you are given respect as a former leader. So they impeached him, and that was painful enough. Why should they think of other ways of fighting him beyond the legal framework? That is my worry, and it's also my warning to anybody who is imagining that he can do that and expect things to be the same in Kenya. They will not be the same.
Waziri, you are a seasoned politician, and someone would wonder, is it a political strategy, that one of saying my life is in danger, just so to keep your enemies at bay?
No, they must be having credible information, because somebody like Gachagua, he has been a deputy president of this country, and he has worked in the provincial administration. He has his own networks. So somebody, why haven't I said the same? Yeah, because no, I've never seen any danger to my life, and I don't even suspect, because I'm harmless.
You are harmless?
I'm harmless. I say this, then I go sleep, and I don't have a problem at all.
You don't watch over your shoulders out here when you step out of this studio?
No, I don't. Unless...
even when you accuse high-ranking state officers of corruption?
Yeah, but we have facts. You see the beauty with the information today. This phone carries more information than all the documents in the government office. So if I wanted to click something, I will show you when the president was taken to court because of some millions of shillings about land somewhere that was sold to Kenya Pipeline. If I click another one, you will get information about possession away, that he had to return the plots to the lawyer so that the Ministry of Lands can make good the possession away. And we did some tarmac on that possession away all the way to Serena and to the main road.
I will never ask you this, Waziri. Allow me today to ask you this question.
Yeah.
Are you ready to pay the ultimate sacrifice for speaking truth to power, in the sense that even if it comes at the cost of your life, you are ready to take it in for the greater good of Kenyans?
Yes, because you can die of any other cause, or many other causes. You can just be knocked down by piki. You remember the constituency, Banisa. Is it called Banisa?
Banisa.
Yeah, that they have not replaced the MP.
Yeah.
He didn't die by saying the truth or speaking the truth. He died because he was knocked by a motorbike. So death is death. And when you die...
It doesn't have to come from the state, from the regime of the day.
No, it doesn't have to come. And you know, death is a final... It comes with finality. Yeah, it comes with finality. Yeah, I have so many examples.
You have embraced death as Waziri Kirwa.
Yeah.
Let it come, as and when it will come.
Let it come, because it can come through other ways. And why? In fact, there are people who get worried about their funerals. I never get worried because I will not be there.
You have not reserved 2 bulls like
no way.
Or designated your gravesite?
No, you may die by plane crash and you disappear into the ICs. There will be no funeral. And guys who will be coming to eat are coming just to eat, because they know they will not see your body. They will just be, and there will be no grave. So how can you plan?
Or to inherit the widow?
No, I don't know. I don't know about that. But you see, the issue is, some things we spend so much time thinking about, they mean nothing. They mean nothing. That's why I've told you, Mwalimu Nyerere has only 52 acres as his property within Butiaba. Other people, they have more than thousands of acres, as if when they get buried, you will be buried somewhere in Taita Taveta, then you are exhumed, you are buried in Sugoi, then you are exhumed, you are buried in Masai Mara. Some things we get worried should not worry you at all, Richard. Yeah. You have enough people to take care of you. Should you die today, don't count on me, count on your neighbors. They will take care of you. You will be buried. Hapo tu
Kapkoi Saison.
Hapo karibu Catholic Church. There are enough people. So
which brings me to this particular concern.
Yeah.
You've been a seasoned member of parliament, serving in parliament for 20 years, right?
Yes, 4 terms. Consecutively.
Consecutive.
Yeah, no interruption.
A first for you, right?
Yes.
But then again, do you have the feeling that today people seek these elective positions oftentimes for primitive accumulation of wealth and not really to serve the masses?
Yeah, they have proved that many of them seem to do that. And the way I see it, there is very clear evidence that somebody having been a senator, having been a member of parliament, decides to run for governor. For me, if I had a chance to go back to parliament again, I would even prefer to be a senator, because I will not be handling resources of the people. Because you see, if you are a member of parliament, you get about 200 million annually that you are dispensing with. Therefore, you cease to be a representative of the people. You are now an implementing officer, which is at a very lower level. And that's why I support Raila's thinking that CDF, that money, should be spent in the constituency, but midwifed by the county government. Let the MP be a patron to oversee the expenditure, but not to be involved in day-to-day running of the constituency office.
Giving life to devolution?
Yeah, that's the only way you can give life to devolution. Let the money be ring-fenced. If it is for Kablamai ward, let it go to Kablamai ward. If it's about 50 million, okay. Let the decision be done at Kablamai. If it is for Cherangani, let that money go to Cherangani in various locations. And let the decision be arrived at, emanating from the grassroots. But the MP, the MCA, for me, it is the wrong thing.
If you are serving member of parliament today, would you have supported still that proposal from Raila Odinga?
I will support. And I may be elected, you never know. I may run and get elected.
Yeah. And you still support that
I will support that position. Even when, you know, CDF came in my last term, when I was doing my 4th term. But I never even took allowance, sitting allowance. I told them, you are the people sitting. We had constituency manager, Eunice Karanja. We had chairman of the constituency, Honorable Samuel Motari, and we had a committee of people. I told them, deal with it, and anytime we were meeting as a constituency, they tell me, we have taken so much to this school, we have taken so much to this other school, to this project, and they read the figures. And people come and listen.
That's it.
That's the style I want. I would want to be as transparent as is possible. Yeah. And of course, I'm not dying to be an MP, but I'm saying if I was to get that opportunity, because in politics, you can never say never.
You can never say
I will run it differently. I will not just get involved that this road up to here, I'm giving to contractors so and so, so that I get some kickback. No.
You're speaking into the issue of heralding better governance as a country.
Yes.
And believing in the right philosophies of management.
Yes.
So then again, as a country, because we are somewhat at a crisis, you're talking about the mega corruption in Kenya Kwanza government.
Yeah.
But are Kenyans justified to experience bad leadership just so they can realize the value in electing a good man or woman?
No, I don't think we need to degenerate to that level. What we need to do, because one thing that people need to know, we have well-informed society. We have very educated population. We are very hardworking people. What we just need to do is to put the right people in the right places for them to perform. And we should expect nothing from anybody other than being as transparent as possible. That's the way I look at it. Yeah. Transparency, being honest. Because you see, you find an MP has 2 or 3 bodyguards. What are you running away from? Unless you are running away from auctioneers, or you are running away from the people you have conned.
You've questioned the philosophy of management of President William Ruto, and some political pundits would talk of us witnessing a modern-day strongman in the name of President William Ruto, a one-man show, someone who wields power to even control independent arms of government. Do you believe that's the case we are witnessing as a country, and can we really tame it in the near future?
I like his energy. I like his focus. I like his close observation of issues and the way he tears into some issues. But what I don't like with him, he pretends that he knows everything and the rest of the people are there to occupy those positions. What we need to do is to allow decision making to take place in every sector and every level of government so that people make changes according to the realities on the ground. If it's a governor, give him the leeway to do whatever he's supposed to do as a governor. If it is a minister, allow a minister to perform. If it's a PS, allow the PS to supervise the team that is under him or her. So that at the end of the day, every effort is put into the pot of developing this country. That's the way I look at it. So interfering is what I call micromanagement. And you see, in management, there are different models, including close supervision, which if you are not careful, you become a micromanager. If you over-supervise people, even when they know what they are doing, and you are not giving them a chance to make decisions and go for the best option according to the conditions obtaining on the ground.
It is not about being a perfectionist, wanting the best out of every involvement by your staffers.
But what you should realize, of course he has not done management, some of us are fortunate to have done management, is that when you allow people who are well trained to discuss an issue and present options that are viable, they come out with better results than if you over micromanage them.
Now, the president has an extra advisor by his side, that is Jaoko Oburu, of course, family member to Raila Odinga, being appointed as one of the special advisors to President Ruto. By him onboarding many other advisors, do you see hope in his decisions going forth?
But does he have time to process all this information? Because you see, president's advisor in every sector or in every ministry is the minister. Then the principal assistant and advisor to him is supposed to be the deputy president. Then the legal advisor to him is the attorney general. Then other advisors should be advising the minister or the PS so that the information that is channeled to the cabinet is information that has been processed and they are found to be viable in terms of implementation of the project. Because the president is a human being. Really, does he have the time to go through all these pieces of advice? I'm sure some of the advisors may never have written even one sentence to him.
So, too many advisors in the first place is an admission of failure.
It's admission of failure. These are just job seekers. They are just being given jobs.
Not experts?
Experts in what field? When you talk of economic advisor, anybody, even somebody who is in charge of communication, like Professor Kisiangani, now is an economic advisor. What economic model has he presented to the president? You know,
Moses Kuria,
I don't know the training of Moses Kuria. But, you know, if you are to take me today, I can advise him on foreign relations because I'm qualified and have that experience. I can advise him on normal governance issues. I can advise him on because of my experience. I can advise him on where he's likely to fail. But I cannot be economic advisor.
On mining.
Yeah, on mining. I cannot advise him on even agriculture.
Gender issues.
Issues of tender, issues of gender.
Yeah.
I don't know. At times I sympathize with him. I think he's done well in the past to the extent that he doesn't realize that the trajectory that he has taken now is doomed to fail. Yeah.
You're talking about the president being doomed to fail, but I want to understand if that's the same position you hold about Raila Odinga. By us witnessing this dalliance between Ruto and Raila, has it this far exposed the underbelly of Raila Odinga in your lenses?
I've told you, Richard, that Raila has been very lucky. Kenyans have handled him with gloves because Raila has been changing position ever since he was elected a member of parliament in 1992. I don't have to elaborate.
The real watermelon?
He has been prime watermelon. He has been somebody who does not have basic democratic principles. Even in ODM. ODM is surviving just because of certain vision that they had at the beginning. Otherwise, Raila is not a Democrat that allows democracy to survive in ODM. Some of the people now might be banded out of ODM, may be the voice of reason.
Salasia could be the voice of reason. Babu Owino. Such.
Well, Babu Owino, I respect Sifuna, the SG, I respect Orengo, and I respect a few other guys who are telling the president and Raila, this is the long train.
I thought you'd mention Opio Andai or even John Bundy, the experts.
No. Well, one day, expert in what? Anyway, let's leave it because when we bring our credentials, we look like we are job seekers.
There you have it from former Minister Kipruto Arap Kirwa, the Honorable himself, discussing a raft of issues today on Richard Mwenja Exclusive, matters that we need to take keen interest on as a country. How about now we cross over to this very insightful segment that really extends a debt of gratitude to personalities who've made tremendous impact, not just for Kenya or Africa, but the entire world. Waziri Kirwa, shujaa wetu nani leo?
Leo ni Charles Wanyoike Rubia.
Charles Wanyoike Rubia.
Yes, born in 1923 to a certain family in Muranga. He went to a local primary school called Kahuya. Later on, he went to Kagumo and subsequently to Alliance High School.
Where Ishungwa was?
Ishungwa was there many years later.
Oh.
And Kimani Ishungwa was second intake. He was not the prime intake.
Really?
Yeah, let him challenge me. We know it was what we were calling in Mangu a kumudha. I don't know, it's a Kikuyu word. I don't know exactly what
Never
it
made
meant.
to the first cut?
No, he was in the second intake. Just tell him, possibly somebody might have misrepresented the facts.
All right, the alumni from Mangu High School, tell us about Charles Rubia.
Charles Rubia went into the labor movement, fought for the liberation of this country. And he was privileged to have been given the position of the first African mayor of Nairobi in 1963. From the position of mayor, he became the member of parliament for Starehe for many years, culminating in him being assistant minister and subsequently minister in the government of President Moi. Charles Rubia disagreed with President Moi's subsequent, and he was part of the second liberation. He and the late Stanley Njindo Matiba were detained. For a number of years, he came out when he had lost his capacity to hear, and even at some stage, he was not able to talk audibly because of the things that were visited on him while in detention. He died the other day at a very advanced age in 1999, in 2019.
Oh, 2019.
2019.
Ah.
Yeah. So that is the man from Murang'a County.
He spoke for the people.
He spoke for the people. He was in the JM committee. When JM was killed in 1975, he was part of the committee. He's the one who discovered, having gotten messages from the wives of JM Kariuki. He's one of those guys who went to the city mortuary and broke the door open to see the body of JM in one of the containers in the city mortuary.
A true revolutionary?
He is, and he was. And he's done a lot for this country. Yeah, him and the late Elijah Mwangale, who was the chairman of JM committee, the late Mark Mwithaka, the late Jean Maria Serone, the late James Nyamwea. Who was the other one? Because at times it's unfair to remember some people and forget others. Those are the people who are in JM committee report. And the late Martin Shikuku. Yeah, Shikuku was also part of the team.
Let's get a bit up close and personal, Waziri. During your tenure as a member of parliament and even thereafter, did you perhaps maybe get a chance to break bread with Charles Rubia?
Yeah, I visited him several times in Karen.
You did?
Yeah, in Karen, because their son, Maurice Rubia, was part of the team that we formed the UDM. And a number of times we went to see the old man. And he was very happy to see a young, vibrant politician almost following on his footsteps.
Was approachable?
He was approachable and a very interesting old man. Very nice guy to deal with. Somebody wealthy, but he never made it look like wealth is supposed to be a barrier between the haves and the have-nots. By then I was a member of parliament.
A poor one for that case?
Of course, in those days, our salary was 18,000.
Only?
Yeah. And that is no house allowance, no mileage, mileage 4,000.
18,000 without CDF by your side?
There was no CDF, there was no allowance, and even house allowance. There was no house allowance. Even PA, we didn't have PA, even driver. You just call a friend like Ryan, let's drive the car and we go to Nairobi. We didn't have...
no cheskers?
Not even a car. You buy the car using loan from National Bank.
Service to the people?
Yeah, that was service to the people for 15 years before I became minister, so that you have a PA, you have a bodyguard, and you have an office. Because I didn't have an office for 15 years. You just operate from the street. But if you become streetwise, you know, the beauty is that you become streetwise. You know how to survive. If you're asking a question, you write by hand, then you go to an office, you tell somebody to type for you, then you hand over to the speaker.
How old are you, Waziri?
Well, now?
Yeah.
68.
The way you talk about these things, someone might believe that probably you're from the 1920s and going
That's
back.
what happened. Even telephone call, there was no airtime. Yeah, nowadays people are given bundles. Some MPs actually, they retire when they still got airtime.
Airtime allowance.
Allowance. Yeah, I'm telling you the truth.
There you have it from Waziri Kipchumba Arap Kirwa talking about our hero for the day, none other than Charles Wanyoike Rubia. Many thanks to him and his family for really donating a son who has helped Kenya in many, many fronts. Waziri, thank you for slating time for this particular production.
Yeah, it's my pleasure.
I'll be heading to Moist Bridge. Should I take greetings there to your people of Cherangani?
All of them, even the ones from Moist Bridge, especially Apo Kapkoi. I did a rambe for that Catholic church those days with my meager salary.
You donated to my church?
Yes. And I will come there one of these days. We have some service.
But you never did that before cameras, because I've never met a picture from that Harambe.
No, you know, Harambe was meant to be Harambe.
Not for the show?
Not for the show. Yeah.
Not for political scores?
No. If you get some kind of credit, so be it. But it is not meant for that. It is meant to assist the church and to the spread of word of God. Yeah, regardless of the denomination. Yeah.
Your bishop must be so proud of you today.
Yeah, Bishop Chemengich must be proud. We were together on 17th.
This month?
This month, 17th. We had gone to have a ceremony to bless a new house built for a certain elder by his son in Australia. You know, this is something that I always like. Take children to school and give them good values. A boy in Australia has built the very nice house for the father. The father is above 80 and he is living in a very nice house.
Education is the weapon of choice.
Yes.
Education and values.
Education and values, because there are many educated people who have no moral values. So we need to combine the two, education and values. Yeah.
All right, thanks so much, Waziri. We'll see each other in the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, karibu.
All right, asante sana. Until we get to do this again on Richard Mwenja Exclusive, do enjoy the rest of your viewing.